we are in control of our own lives. We often don't realize we're in control, but we're in control of our own lives and we can make different choices. And if the things in our life are not bringing us joy and happiness, we can change them. If we decide our relationship is not the right relationship, we don't have to suffer in that relationship. We have our own power and we can make a change, and it takes courage, but it's in everyone's best interest for us to take care of ourselves, to be in a relationship or in a job where you're phoning it in because you think it's your responsibility to do the job. There's probably someone who would do that job with passion and bring more to it than you are. In your relationship, if you've fallen out of love and you're going through the motions, you're not doing anyone any favors. It's not real. You know, we're stuck in our small story of who we are and what our lives are, and it's all a choice. And we have the power to change it. Anything in our lives that doesn't give us joy, we can change, and we can find the version that suits us. And it's not only in service to us, it's ultimately what's best for everyone. You know, when you're on an airplane and they say if the plane's going to go down, these masks are going to fall down, put your mask on first before you put on your child's or anyone else's, which is counterintuitive. We always think we take care of our children first. But if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with the Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because when I started my first business, I really struggled to believe in myself. I was making $300 a month and quit on my business partner. And the thing that saved me was watching the stories of successful entrepreneurs. They gave me strategies as well as hope and belief that just maybe I could do it myself as well. And I hope that this video here today helps you get a little bit more belief in yourself, because I still need the videos for myself today too. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Rick Rubin, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, overcome self-doubt.
The chapter on self-doubt was really interesting to me.
Tell me what it says, because I can't remember.
Well, I'll read the first sentence of it, which is that self-doubt lives in all of us. And while we may wish it was gone, it is there to serve us. And it goes on to describe how to dance with self-doubt in not so many words.
Self-doubt is it's a check on yourself. It can either be really helpful or it can undermine you. So it's something we all have. And if we let it undermine us, then we don't make anything, and that's not good. But when used as a balancing tool in our lives, it serves a great function where we really do. It's okay to have all the confidence in the world and still second guess, is this the best it can be? You can doubt, I think the phrase is in the book, you can doubt your way to a great work, to a masterpiece. Sometimes that questioning allows you to push further than just accepting I made it so it's good.
Rule number 3, take charge of your life.
Is there advice you can give to people in high school and college about how to have a life like yours in whatever pursuit? In terms of success is such a silly word, but just find success or maybe happiness in career or just in life in general.
Yeah, the only advice I would have would be to not listen to anyone and to do what you love and to make things that you love, whatever it is. Make your favorite things. Be the audience. Make the thing for you the audience. And it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. And if you have to get a job to support yourself so that you can make your art, that's fine. You can't make art for someone else. You can't make art with someone else in mind. I don't believe it can be good.
Rule number 4 is work with experts.
Did you have an invisible coach to help you with your work in this book? Because it sounds like that's what you offer to other people. Because as you just beautifully said, we can get too close to the work.
Yeah.
So did you have people around you to help you maintain that perspective and distance?
Absolutely. I had people helping along the way in different capacities. Ultimately, at the end of the project, Scott, who's the editor at Penguin Press in New York, was really helpful in the final touches of what worked and what didn't. But all through the process, I started working with one writer and then working with another. I ended up working with many people over the course of the 7 years of working on the book. And it went through lots of changes and iterations on the way to get where it is. But it really helps to have people who know more than you do about the thing that you're working on help.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is be authentic.
Since we spoke last, tell me about the process.
The process has been literally everything you said, considering the audience last. And not even,
it's funny to say, right?
Yeah, it's funny to say.
But it's true. It's in service to the audience.
Exactly.
That you can't think about them.
I'm not going to consider the audience in the most pure way possible. As in, it's not like, hey, I'm going to defy what everyone thinks about me. It's like, I'm just going to be so true to myself that I can't consider the audience in any decision I make about this art that I'm making.
Yes, just make it true to you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, what people want is what's true to you.
100%.
And if you try second guessing yourself to please someone else, it's never real. That dictates who your audience is, because you forever want to be able to make the music that you want to make.
100%, yeah.
Because otherwise you're always like, oh, what are they going to like next? What am I? And you start chasing trends, and it's...
Rule number 6 is learn to express yourself.
How do you interface with those, let's face it, somewhat political and cultural arguments as an artist and a creator?
Well, it's always been an issue that's been around. In the first time that I came in contact with this was in the 80s, living in New York and starting to make music. Whatever the mainstream forces were trying to censor the type of music I was working in and wanted it not to exist. They didn't understand what it was, and that was hip hop. So hip hop was originally verboten, and it was not played on any radio stations, and it was people who did it were unpeopled, and it was unmusic, and whatever it was bad, and it was evil, and now it's the most popular form of music in the world. So that gives me some sense of assurance that when people come together to do something good with a positive, the people who are making hip hop were doing it out of love for this art form and having something to say. And maybe these are people who never went to a musical academy or were great virtuoso musicians, but they had something to say, and they had an experience of life that was different from others, and they wanted to express it. And they expressed it in a very elegant, beautiful way that if you weren't part of it, you didn't understand. Now, over time, people have come to understand it. And now it has taken over the world. And it's fascinating to see. And at the time, in the early days, I could have never predicted that rap music would be what it is today, or that it would ever have even been popular, because it was such an underground form of music and reviled. To see it live where it lives today is, again, reassuring that something good, it comes around. Like the forces that are trying to hold down goodness, they're not strong enough to do it. They're not strong enough to do it.
Rule number 7 is unleash the artist within you.
I think you say somewhere that it's about, art and creativity is actually about the way we experience life. And that's why I think it is so magical, because these are little bits of timeless wisdom that in many ways you've written through the lens of music, but actually are applicable to everything.
I hope so. I hoped to write the book in an open enough way where, and I think the nature of the principles that are discussed are not about music.
Yeah.
And while I view them as being about art, it is true we can live in an artful way and it'll be better than if we don't, regardless of what it is we're doing.
Are we all artists?
We all are artists. The question is are we a better artist today than we were yesterday? And are we doing everything we can to be the best artist we can be tomorrow? And we're all art. We may not all be Da Vinci, but are we better than we were? And can we continue to become better and better and better? And it's an ongoing, iterative process over the course of our lives.
Rule number 8 is practice meditation.
How would you define meditation?
Well, there are different types of meditation. Usually, either way, I would say there's no form of meditation where we're focused on our brain.
Okay. Good. I'm glad we disagree.
Yeah. No, I would say here are the things that happen. We either are engaging in a mantra, which would be a version of almost like creating a trance for ourselves, not unlike listening to something when we go to sleep that would distract our conscious mind from participating. We would be overriding our the talking mind with just a sound that we're generating, or a word, or a phrase, series of phrases. Like meta meditation is a loving kindness meditation with phrases. Could be that, or it could be focused on the breath. But the purpose of being focused on the breath is to not hear the self-talk that we normally have. It's a single pointed focus exercise in those that I described. The other version is an awareness meditation where you're closing your eyes and you're being with whatever is and noticing. So if we were to do it now, and you could do it eyes open or eyes closed with an awareness practice. But the first thing that I would do is I would feel, I feel a little ringing in my ears. It might be from the electronic equipment around us, and I don't mean that I hear the sound. It's like a vibration. I hear cars passing in the distance. Let's see what else comes up. I can feel a feeling in my chest. I can feel this part of my face, not sure why. Feels like it's related to my jaw. More car sounds. I'm aware of a little feeling of warmth. So now I would say the room feels a bit warm. I wasn't aware of that before when I wasn't just being with what's happening. I feel a little itch on my left shoulder. So, that would be an awareness practice, which is another kind of meditation where you're just paying attention to what's going on. There's no story. There's no this means this. None of those things. Just like an inventory almost of everything that comes up when it comes up. And you do that for a period of time.
Rule number 9 is be patient.
What remains the biggest challenge for you, Rick, after all of the millions of records that you have sold, whether it be Chili Peppers or Johnny Cash or Jay-Z? What remains the challenge?
It's always the same. It's making something interesting to me. And it's always a challenge. And it always, it often comes through, it often works out. But I just think it's the patience. If you're patient, it happens. And the only time that I could see that it wouldn't happen would be if there was you have to do it by tomorrow. I don't know that it can happen by tomorrow. But if we have if we go in with this idea of we're going to play and we're going to make things and we're going to have fun, and eventually we're going to look at whatever it is that's created and recognize what in that is good. And that might lead the charge of what happens after that. So the first part of it is a real question mark, always. But once you hit something that seems interesting, something that makes you excited, something that pulls you forward, something you're excited to look at again, something that makes you laugh, then following that thread where it leads, and it may change, it doesn't, sometimes the thing that we first get excited about doesn't end up being what the final piece is, and that's fine. But once you feel like you're on to something, it's like you have a map. The map doesn't tell you where you're going, but it's a set of directions. And when you start following the directions, and then at any point while you're following the directions, you might decide to take a turn because now that we're in this place, if we make a turn to the right, that's going to be really interesting. Or if we make a turn to the left, it might be really interesting. Let's see what happens. Let's try them. And then if you realize that the path you've chosen is a good one, you keep going. And if you realize it's not, then you go back to where was the last point that we were feeling this energy? Where did we lose the thread? And then go back and try to see where else it wants to pull us. And I think knowing that we don't know is where the real power comes in. If you think you know, and then it doesn't work, you're really lost. But starting with the idea we don't know anything good that happens is bonus. It's always like, wow, look at this. Can you believe it? And it always feels like that because the things that we're making, it's not really about music, The book's not about music, but the music I make's not about music. It's like the music is it's a vehicle for something else. And it happens to be music is the way we get to experience these feelings, but it could be through architecture or it could be through painting. And you could have that same excitement or that same way of looking at something coming in a different format.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is break the pattern.
I have these habits and I don't know how to break these habits, right? Like I would love to try something new, but I'm not sure how to do it because I've been doing more or less something that rhymes with this for so long. What are some other ways you've seen people successfully innovate, experiment, and maybe get off of those well-worn tracks?
An example for you, writing fiction is a great example because you've written nonfiction up till now. Although I still think you don't have that issue because you wrote your first book, which was a business book. It was wildly successful. And then I remember your second book was a fitness book and publishers were like, you're the business guy. What are you writing a fitness book for?
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't have this problem, or at least you didn't have the problem then when we talked about it then.
No, I don't have a problem with it. Yeah.
I think if you look back at your work and you notice a pattern that runs through it, there are two choices. One, you can double down on that pattern and through recognizing it, go deeper into it. And that could be interesting. Or you could recognize the pattern and say, okay, what would it be like if I went in a different direction? If your work tends to be dark, you've done dark, 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 what would the light version be like?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Who knows?
Yeah.
What's the other end of the seesaw? And even if you do that experiment and don't like the results, when you come back to working in the dark, you're going to have a different relationship to it. 100%. You're going to be able to do something new. Even if you're going to go back to the same thread that you've been following, breaking out of it, even as a failed experiment, can help you get firmly back on the thread in a way maybe more secure than you ever understood it before.
Is there a grim irony in the fact that those who are attracted to this vulnerable career are often vulnerable people themselves. Their vulnerability is that which fuels their creativity, and yet their creativity, especially a public judgment of their creativity, can only exacerbate their vulnerability.
It's true, and it's interesting, and it's part of the reason that many artists are great, and it's part of the reasons that we don't get to hear so many talented people is because they can't make the leap of putting themselves in the spotlight or raising their hand and allowing their voice to be heard. It's really tragic in that each of these people has something to say that's specific to them, that no one else can fill that void. It's one of the things very interesting about art is it's not interchangeable. It's each artist makes the thing that if they're making it truly for themselves, truly playing their part in this, in the universe's cosmic orchestra, each person plays the part that fits this puzzle. And if you don't play it, no one else can play your part. So anything that you can do to have enough confidence or to find a method of sharing how you see it as in a way that feels safe to you, whatever it is. It could be anonymous drawing. You could be doing drawings like graffiti. You could be leaving graffiti in places. You can be drawing things and placing them in places. You can be putting stickers up with images that you've created. There's a lot of ways to get your stuff out. There's no right way. So find the way that feels good for you to share what's interesting to you. And we all benefit. Everybody benefits from that. You'll benefit because you're not holding in your part. You're contributing your part, and it feels really good to do that. Whether anyone notices it or not, when you make something and hit send and put it out into the world, it doesn't matter if anyone responds. Just the feeling of, I did it, I liked it enough to share it. That's a great feeling. It's a great sense of accomplishment. And it gives you the confidence to do another one and another one and another one.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag Believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Jay-Z, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
My advice is just do things that are true to you. Most things that I'm involved with are extension of being creative. Rockaway is a clothing company. It's part of who you are in hip hop.